Constant readers, it's time to reacquaint yourselves with Dan Torrrance and his mysterious shine. Hey guys, welcome to Watch Mojo. I'm Rebecca, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you need to know about the Dr. Sleep adaptation. That means we're looking at all the key information you're going to want to have before lining up to see Dr. Sleep, the upcoming sequel to Stephen King's classic, The Shining. I better reread this, actually. Anyway, let's dig in. Number 10, it will likely jump around in time. Published in 2013, Stephen King's novel Dr. Sleep begins almost immediately after the events of The Shining. Following their terrifying ordeal at the Overlook Hotel, Danny and his mother Wendy Torrance struggle to put their lives back together. As Danny grows up, he ends up becoming an alcoholic like his father, and spends years trying to kick the habit. The book presents this transition linearly, but Mike Flanagan, Dr. Sleep's director, is known for playing with timelines. While it's not 100% confirmed, from the look of the trailer, it's likely we'll get flashbacks to these dark periods in Dan's life, as well as his frightening time at the Overlook.
When I was a kid, I bumped into these things.
Number 9. It won't be a typical modern horror movie. For better or worse, many modern horror films rely on certain tricks, like jump scares and extreme close-ups, to provoke a reaction from their audience. However, Mike Flanagan says that that's not the approach he's taken with Dr. Sleep. While there are horrific elements, the production team is more interested in creating a disturbing and compelling narrative.
I need you to listen to me. The world's a hungry place. A dark place.
Just as The Shining is devoid of jump scares, allowing the growing tension and atmosphere to provide the terror instead, so will Dr. Sleep allow the unsettling story to speak for itself. Number 8. Dan Torrrance is traumatized. On paper, The Shining sounds like a pretty cool power. However, when it comes with becoming a target for supernatural forces, it could understandably feel more like a burden than a gift. According to Dr. Sleep's synopsis, the unresolved trauma from Danny's time at the Overlook Hotel has led him to stifle his abilities. But when he discovers that others like him might need his help, he has to open himself up again, learning in the process that even though he's all grown up, there are still terrifying things out there that want to play with him forever and ever. We'd say he has every right to be afraid. Number 7. It's influenced by the Shining miniseries. Shining fans only familiar with Stanley Kubrick's adaptation are not getting the whole story. Not only are there major characterization and thematic changes from the novel, the endings are very different. Those who haven't read the novel and want a better picture of what's in store for Dr. Sleep should check out the 1997 miniseries Stephen King's The Shining. Although it wasn't exactly a critical darling, director Mike Flanagan has praised the miniseries' treatment of Jack, who is a much more tragic figure, and said that Dr. Sleep will incorporate some of its elements.
And then, Mr. Torrance, we will all sit down together and toast your accomplishment. Your wife and son included.
Yes, sir.
Number 6. It's part of the Stephen King multiverse. As constant readers know, many of Stephen King's stories are connected, a part of a multiverse linked to a metaphysical edifice known as the Dark Tower. In Dr. Sleep, not only does the number 19 keep cropping up, an important numeral within the mythos, but the grown-up Dan quotes Jake Chambers' famous line, "There are other worlds than these" from the Dark Tower series. With these and other small connections to the multiverse throughout the book, the upcoming film has a chance to directly reference other adapted works, and director Mike Flanagan has indicated there will be Easter eggs throughout the film. Maybe we'll even get a nod to It Chapter 2, which is also due for release by Warner Brothers in fall 2019.
Hello.
Number 5. Stephen King loves the script. Stephen King has famously stated that he disliked what Kubrick did with The Shining. For many fans, this can come as a surprise, until they read the book and see how the crucial differences in characterization might have irked the then new writer.
I used to describe The Shining, the film, is something like a beautiful car that had no engine in it.
Mike Flanagan spoke with Stephen King about closing the gap between some of the starkest differences, and then sent the first draft the main author's way. Despite a history of working within the horror genre, Flanagan says the experience was terrifying. But it all worked out as King loved it. The finished film was also sent to King and the Kubrick estate for an early viewing. And so far, so good. Number 4, it has a great cast. With expectations for the film high, a cast that can shoulder the load is key. In the lead role, the ever-versatile Ewan McGregor will play an adult Danny Torrrance, struggling with old ghosts and new as he tries to mentor Abra Stone, played by Kylie Curran, a young girl who also has Danny's gift.
You're magic, like me.
Rebecca Ferguson, best known for her roles in The White Queen and the Mission Impossible franchise, will take on the role of Rose the Hat, the leader of the vampiric-like troupe known as the True Knot. And Alias and Supergirl star Carl Lumbly has taken on the mantle of Dick Halloran, the mentoring cook of the Overlook portrayed by Scatman Crothers in Kubrick's The Shining.
Well, anyway, he looks like a doc, doesn't he? Yeah. What's up, Doc?
Number 3, it will likely be R-rated. Except for the goriest of horror films, throughout the early 2000s, there was a growing trend of aging down movies from R to PG-13 to maximize potential viewers.
That is bizarre.
This resulted in films in the horror, action, and suspense genres that toned down mature themes and visuals to avoid being burdened with a higher rating. However, in recent years, we've seen a resurgence of the R-rated movie. And in regard to his latest work, director Mike Flanagan has said it was, quote, very safe to assume that Dr. Sleep will get that higher rating. Well, we guess elevators full of blood will do that for a picture.
I always called it The Shining.
Number 2, it's directed by Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan is leading Dr. Sleep as both screenplay writer and director. This is not the first time Flanagan has directed a King adaptation, having delivered his chilling vision of Gerald's game for Netflix in 2017.
Gerald? Gerald? Baby, look at me. Wake up, Gerald.
Flanagan made big waves in 2018 with The Haunting of Hill House, which Stephen King called, quote, close to a work of genius. From that same production, Flanagan has brought along cinematographer Michael Fiumignari, the Newton brothers as composers, and actors Violet McGraw and Robert Longstreet. Known for his ghost stories and exploring the nuances of grief and trauma in his horror projects, Flanagan should be perfect for handling this long-awaited story. Are you guys as excited about this as I am? Because I know I've said it a million times, but I will say it again. I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and of course, I have read this book. And I am very excited to see it adapted to the big screen, but I will say it's gonna be weird. Just warning you. Anyway, before we let you know the number one thing you need to know about the Dr. Sleep adaptation, let's check out some honorable mentions.
Hi there. I only met 2 or 3 people like us. They died. I bumped into these things.
Not quite at the end yet. Almost there though. Just be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Alright, back to business. Number 1. It's a sequel to Stephen King's novel and Stanley Kubrick's film. As we've said, Kubrick's adaptation diverges a fair amount from its source material.
Here's Johnny!
Naturally enough, King's novel Dr. Sleep is a follow-up to his own book, not Kubrick's interpretation. However, while not a direct sequel to the 1980 classic, Mike Flanagan has stated that he hasn't left Kubrick's vision out of his new film. Attempting to reconcile the gap between book and movie, Flanagan took on the challenge of staying true to the book while allowing the story to exist within Kubrick's cinematic interpretation. Scenes from the trailer show recreated set pieces from Kubrick's Overlook Hotel. Considering that King has already given it his stamp of approval, perhaps Dr. Sleep will give us the merging of minds we've been waiting for. was wondering how this movie was going to work because there's stuff that happens in the book, The Shining, and this book that don't happen in the movie, and it kind of drastically alters things, and I don't want to give too much away, but just trust me on this. So the fact that it's both a sequel to the movie and the book may make it work. So I'm very, very interested to see how they do that. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe and watch this other video.